welcome once again, guys. This is Cat's Pajamas.
And this is Bane User.
And we are back once again for some bonus coverage out of the qualifiers for IPL Season 2. This is a round of 256 match from the IPL Season 2 qualifier number 3. Down here in the bottom left-hand corner, it says Root, we win, but that is in fact KatZ. He is spawning as our teal Zerg player. His opponent here in the top right-hand corner. Rounding out this mirror matchup is ROOTslush, spawning as our purple Zerg player.
We have two very, very crafty Zergs on our hands right here. Both these players not afraid to cheese, not afraid to use any kind of shenanigan, really. It's just all about the win, and they will use so many different strategies to beat you. And they're both very creative, and I actually like watching their games a lot. Not sure if there's as much leeway for those types of plays in ZVZ, but you never know. A little
bit. You know, I mean, KatZ has been definitely experimenting with a lot of heavy Infestor styles, one-base Infestor styles to kind of combat the big roach numbers, things like that. So I would not be surprised at all to see him rush for some sort of crazy one-base strategy, a couple of spines, maybe rush for Mutalisks or something like that. Like you were saying, yeah, I mean, he is known for doing, you know, just kind of ridiculous off-the-wall stuff. Very, very good at it, though. Don't get me wrong. When I say ridiculous, I don't mean unconventional in a bad way. Certainly a very inventive Zerg player. Looks like Slush now dropping down gas before Pool, put down those timings such that he will have very, very fast speedlings. KatZ, on the other hand, just went with his spawning Pool first, going into a relatively late gas, so looks like he may decide to transition out of Zerglings pretty early into the game.
Yeah, he might be going for maybe perhaps an earlier expansion. I don't think either of them are going to expand right off the bat here. They're both going to get out several Zerglings, Queen, and their speed timings are going to be the only thing that really differentiates their builds. Slush will have his speed a little bit earlier. He's already up to 70 gas right now, so he will be able to get speed almost just as that spawning pool finishes. He'll also be able to get that Queen right away, so KatZ's build maybe not optimized the best. He is getting his Queen and a spine crawler immediately, so KatZ already going on the defensive here. I don't know if I like that approach to ZVZ right off the bat. It may perhaps signal that he may be doing some sort of tech build. Yeah. He may be trying to stay on one base for a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, investing that drone and that 100 resources this early on in the game is actually kind of a big deal.
Yeah, and if I know KatZ as well as I hope I do, when these two Queens come out, I think we'll see a really, really quick transition to layer and then a second gas here, and they're pretty near future as well, and then he'll kind of just transition in tech from there. But for now, he does suspect that Slush was going to open with a little bit of aggression. In fact, Slush about ready to send 6 Zerglings across the map. That should be repelled very easily by the Queen, Spine Crawler, and a couple of Zerglings that are out for KatZ. KatZ actually manages to get in with a Zergling of his own, though. Has 1 kill to that Zergling's credit. Unfortunately, gets that one sniped, and he cannot actually get in to see what Slush has or is offering. Slush immediately turned around, though, by that Queen that was sitting there for KatZ, so he is looking pretty safe at this point. Both players relatively even on supply. There we go. There's layer tech and a second gas.
Now, had he been able to get in there and get a full scout on Slush's base, he would have seen that Slush had stopped mining gas for quite a bit there. He's only using 1 drone on gas and content to just pull up his money, and there we go. Slush is the first to expand, making a bold move, taking his natural, and I agree with this. I don't see any problems with this, but it really depends on what KatZ is going to do from here. KatZ already has that quick layer on the way. He has both gases going, so he's going to be getting a ton of gas, and the real question is what he's going to transition to after the hatchery. Is he going to go for Mutalisks? Is he going to go for quick Infestors? He could perhaps go for burrowed roaches with speed and do a timing push and just try and outright kill the natural and punish Slush for even trying to expand. Slush actually going to lose an Overlord right here, losing a few Zerglings trying to run up the ramp right there, but nothing too important. And I don't really see him breaking the ramp right now, but KatZ is building a ton of Zerglings, actually.
Yeah, that was really crafty attempt there by Slush. He wanted to bring that in to pull 1 Queen off the line and just rush him with some Zerglings. He was kind of positioning those forward. Unfortunately, KatZ did not take the bait. He immediately ran his Zerglings back in. There we go. Kind of that one-base Infestor play that I was talking about before. We do have the infestation pit coming up. Looks like an engagement of Zerglings there. Unfortunately, Slush loses a queen that was in the middle of the map, picking off overlords. Queen does fall, so Slush at a little bit of a disadvantage right now, immediately putting up a second queen. Here comes KatZ, so he's going to make his way in. He's going to do quite a bit of damage to this hatchery. Slush, I don't think it directly engages yet. There we go. There's a few reinforcements. He'll be able to move in, and that is going to force KatZ away.
Yes, Slush having the superior Zergling army right now, if only by a few. KatZ actually rushing for the pathogen glands, so his infestors will have enough for fungal upon spawning. Probably not going to build any infestors until that's just about halfway done. And he's also getting burrow, so KatZ probably going to go with some burrowed infestor play here and look to see him either go after the mineral line, or he might just use that to hide those infestors from Slush so that he doesn't even know about it, doesn't know that they're coming. And Slush right now floating at, he was just about at 400 for a second there, now floating at 300. Really needs to start spending those larvae, possibly teching. I mean, he could afford a layer right now. He could afford a roach warren. I'm not sure exactly what his game plan is right here. Maybe he's just waiting for that Ebo chamber to finish so he can start getting those early upgrades, but still now floating 600, 400, so just slacking a little bit on the macro department. Maybe he's not hitting his injects properly, and now getting spore crawlers. And this is what I was thinking at the beginning of the game. I was questioning if KatZ would still go with his very risky styles of play, like perhaps the burrowed infestors, because both these players obviously on root play each other all the time, and it looks like Slush is just has a dead cold read on the burrowed infestors in the mineral line. He even has one at the top of his ramp. He's going to have full detection throughout his entire base, and he's going to be fully prepared for this. He also has 4 queens ready, so I just don't really see this doing any damage. But the good thing for KatZ is that he has expanded right now. He's not relying completely on this defensive one-base style of play.
Yeah, and he's going to start to make his way now up the map. He's already got a couple of burrowed infestors there, and if he's able to move in, advance with the Zerglings first, he still has the potential to do some damage because, of course, all the attacking units, or even defending units, if you want to call them that, for Slush, are going to be preoccupied with the Zerglings. Here comes KatZ, so he's going to make his way in. Their 1 fungal growth does go down. 2, actually. That's going to take down quite a few of those Zerglings. Very nice job by KatZ. He actually does get in, manages to take out most of those. He's got to watch out, make sure he doesn't lose those infestors. There we go, a couple of infested Terrans down as well to add a little bit of DPS. Nice transfusions going down there by Slush, but he is going to end up losing a couple of these queens.
Oh, he's got to get those infestors out of there.
And looks like he is, in fact, going to burrow and move away, but unfortunately burrowing right underneath a spore crawler, not going to work out the best for him. Looks like Slush ended up losing 3 queens, but there's a very good possibility that KatZ will lose his infestors if he's not careful.
Yeah, I don't know if sending those infestors into the main right there was the best idea for KatZ. They're really not going to be able to get back down the ramp. He's not going to be able to merge those 2 infestors back with his army, and I really don't see what they're going to accomplish. Oh, and KatZ picks off one of those queens that's floating outside of Slush's natural. Not sure what that queen was up to. Maybe checking for overlords, maybe just heading out to poop down some creep tumors, who knows. But we do have a spine crawler going up at the main, and I believe another spine crawler going up at the natural, and these will help quite a bit in defending those infestors from getting into the mineral line, dropping fungals, dropping infested Terrans. Let's take a look at the income tab real quick. Both players relatively even. KatZ is getting that 3rd macro hatchery, so he will have that increased production capability, but I can't help but think that Slush, and man, Slush floating at 700, 630 right now. This is so strange. I don't know what he's been saving and banking all this money for this entire game. He doesn't have the roach warren yet. He's focusing very heavily on defensive structures. He has several spine crawlers, several spore crawlers, and there we go. KatZ finally getting that roach warren, and Slush also finally getting that roach warren. So both players will be transitioning into the roach phase of the game, but it's very strange to see that at the 12-minute and 30-second mark.
Yeah, certainly, but it looks like Slush is going to have a little bit of an advantage as far as upgrades go. He already had, ooh, it looks like KatZ tried to get back in. Is he going to be able to take out? Ooh, he actually does get himself a few drone kills. So those infestors that were dead to rights do end up making another little impact in this game. Looks like the first First round of roaches are coming up now for KatZ, in addition to a couple more infestors. He himself is going to roach speed. Now, Slush just finished up layer technology, so he can finally start taking advantage of that. Surprised that he hasn't already queued up roach speed with the amount of money that he has floating right now. Certainly an underrated upgrade in ZVZ. Looks like an infestation pit coming. There's finally Glial Reconstitution on the way, in addition to Ventral Sacs and Pneumatized Carapace, so maybe even thinking about a little bit of drop play here. Yeah,
he's definitely going to be doing some drop play here. There's no doubt about it. The question is what specifically is he going to be dropping? It's probably going to be roaches. He's obviously not dropped a Baneling Nest yet. He is getting that late infestation pit. I really don't see him dropping any infestors. I don't see that as a possibility, but you know, who knows? He might actually do that, or he could try and do some burrowed play, because it seems like KatZ doesn't really have any detection himself. Slush is basically immune to any kind of burrowed infestor play at this point. He has enough defensive structures to hold pretty much any sort of play like that off. So it would actually be very interesting to see Slush flip the script and use burrowed infestors on KatZ, but I don't think that's going to happen either. He's probably just going to sit back, get the pathogen glands, and get a few infestors of his own. One thing that KatZ really does have going for him, he is behind in the upgrade game. He's already down, I believe, 1-0. Does Slush have his... Yes. Slush has his ranged attack, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he is down 1-0, but one thing he really does have going for him is that his infestors have accumulated so much energy at this point. They're all sitting at... I can't see. Okay, so they're all sitting at almost full energy, so he's going to have so many fungal growths in this next big fight. I just don't know if there's anything that Slush can do about that.
Yeah, and KatZ has pulled a ridiculous supply advantage as well. He has cut economy for quite a while now. He is still down by 5 workers, and he has just put this entirely into roaches, and his roach advantage is gigantic. So here he comes now with these roaches. Yes, he is down in the upgrade battle, but because of the sheer number and the infestor supporting this, it looks like he's going to be in a pretty good position. But wow, I got to admit, Slush was doing a good job there of equalizing the supply numbers, but as soon as all these infested Terrans walk in, those are just going to destroy everything. Look at the fungals going down on infested Terrans, actually.
I love the use of the infested Terrans instead of the fungal growth. I mean, the duration is a little bit short, maybe not getting the same effectiveness out, but they definitely took care of that hatchery and pretty much forced Slush back into the corner of his natural, enabling the hatchery to get taken out, and GG is called. Slush taps out.
Yeah, doing a very good job. There was KatZ, and I got to admit, I like the fact that he wasn't deterred by the detection that was there. He decided to press ahead with his initial strategy and just played the macro game. You know, it's a little bit surprising, too, that he had so many units prepared. Slush, as you kind of commented, was floating a lot of minerals, a lot of resources throughout the entire game. KatZ actually had a huge deficit in terms of economy, still dropped down the macro hatch, and did nothing but pump units, make one big powerful attack, was a little less invested in attack. We got to think, you know, Slush was floating resources. He didn't have a macro hatch down, but he was investing. He had spore crawlers that were up. He had spine crawlers that were up that didn't actually do all that much. He had pneumatized carapace and ventral sacs researched. He wasn't really able to take advantage of pathogen glands either. So you got to think that adds up to a ton of resources that KatZ just pumped straight into units.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, I think what it came down to was just the fact that his infestors had so much energy. Slush really wasn't able to get that much out of his infestors. They popped at the end of that fight right there, had enough for, you know, 1-2 fungals, but that was off after everything was said and done. The fight was already over at that point, so KatZ taking it down 1-0.
All right, guys, we're going to be back in just a second, so don't go anywhere. Game number 2 coming up right now.